topics that's come up recently is why are we developing a coaches, players, and parents evolution program? And the reason is because we're focused on trying to accomplish certain goals, not only within the club, but also for players and coaches. And we feel like if we layer in the parents, then we have the entire club covered. And so if you think about how teachers in school follow a curriculum, we know that it's important to also have a curriculum in a soccer club. And so what we are aiming to achieve is this same effect. And we know that player development is a long-term process that is developed by many factors, most of which are in the hands of the actual soccer player themselves, meaning that there's guidelines that are set and then they have to try to work and achieve those guidelines or standards. And then if they can achieve above and beyond those mentioned goals and standards that are set forth by the club and the coaches, then they can personally achieve great results. And so we believe that with the implementation and application of this new development curricular program, that we are going to be describing over the next multiple weeks throughout the spring and then leading into the fall and to the winter of 2022. We know that this will increase the quality of play for the players. It'll increase the quality of soccer knowledge for the coaches and parents. And then we know that when we put that all together, it's a well-rounded and educated club that improves the overall quality of soccer. And so if you've had a chance to actually attend some of the meetings that have been put on by Mike and Bill, what you'll hear is that there's basically three elements to, a soccer action. And so if you think of those three elements, it's specific to communication, decision, and execution. So when you think of communication, it's an exchange of information between two players or more. And, when players interact with their teammates or if they interact with opponents on the field, whether the opponent is far away or close up, all of these different collector tools that happen throughout a game, they are collected non-verbally, and it's usually through eyes. Sometimes it's audio through ears. Sometimes it's touch. If you get bumped up by a defender, these are all different signals for players to do certain actions. And so when they collect more information and they have a baseline, better soccer intelligence, then the more information a player can decide upon. And so when you go from communication, you look at decision. And so in that decision process, this influences the player to actually make an action. And so it's the intention of the two components of the decision, which are deciding what and deciding how. So when you decide what is the intention of the individual and the quality of their contribution to the team, then you decide how the player performs that specific action. And then you have to execute the decision. So once you decide how to act, then the execution of that decision is to perform the action based on the player's technique. So if we can start to layer in these types of indicators, not only for the players, but for the coaches and for the parents, then we start to develop a club language, which when you start to develop a club language, then the club becomes even better. And so as we have, different talents and different capabilities within the club for each player, what we know is that not everyone is going to reach the professional level. Some kids will reach the high school level. Some will reach the club level of, going to university. And then a very, very small percentage of players will actually make it to the pros. So when you think of how many people play soccer, 250 million people around the world, and you understand that only 60,000 people around the world actually play professional, you have to understand that the odds are pretty small that you will actually make it into the professional arena. So what you have to start to think about from a parent perspective is that, soccer should be seen as a multidisciplinary field. So, where you're not only developing soccer skills, but you're also developing a healthy and positive habit of being committed to a sport, learning how to work together with teammates, um, being held accountable, not only by yourself, but by your coaches and by your teammates and by your parents. But this also helps develop character traits that can be seen even in the workforce as they get older. So, with all of that being said, there's going to be three areas that we continue to focus on as we continue this journey through the Coaches, Players, and Parents Evolution program. So, what we want to focus on is we want to focus on player development being one. We want to look at coaching development. And then we also want to look at club development. Those three areas will continuously be a focus and a point of conversation. And if you have a chance to go to next week's meeting, it'll be at Powerhouse. The topics again will be soccer theory. It'll be specifically focused on how we go about making these different changes within the club. And we look forward to having not only the coaches, we love having the players there. And we are hoping that parents continue to support this program, because I do think that once you go a couple of times, you start to realize that soccer is an intelligent game, and it's helpful that if you're able to speak the language, then you can hopefully continue to see your soccer player develop.